Most men don't lose women because they're not good enough. They lose them because they don't understand them. They speak when they should stay silent. They chase when they should stand still. They give everything. And somehow, it still isn't enough. And that confusion, it creates frustration. It creates heartbreak. And worst of all, it creates self-doubt. You start asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Why did she change? Why does this keep happening to me? But here's the truth most people won't tell you. The problem isn't just what you're doing. It's what you don't understand. Stoicism teaches us something powerful. You cannot control another person's emotions, but you can understand patterns and control how you respond. And once you do that, everything changes. Not because women change, but because you do. In this video, you're going to learn 10 deep truths about female behavior. Not for manipulation, not for control, but for clarity, power, and emotional discipline. Because the man who understands human nature, but masters himself, becomes untouchable. 1. Emotion comes first, logic comes later. Let's start with something most men get wrong. Women are not irrational. They are emotionally driven first, logically aligned second. That means they don't ignore logic. They just don't start there. A woman can feel something deeply and then build reasoning around that feeling. And if you try to fight that feeling with logic, you lose. Every time. Imagine this. She's upset. You respond with facts. You explain. You defend yourself. And what happens? She gets even more upset. Why? Because you're speaking a language she's not using in that moment. She's speaking emotion. You're speaking logic. And there's a disconnect. A Stoic man understands timing. He doesn't rush to correct. He doesn't rush to defend. He pauses. He listens. He acknowledges. Not because he's weak, but because he's in control. He knows that calming emotion creates space for logic later. 2. Attention is a drug. Attention is not just communication. It's validation. It's reassurance. It's emotional fuel. And like any powerful thing, too much of it becomes dangerous. At the beginning, you give attention freely. Texts, calls, compliments. And it feels good. But slowly, if you don't control it, you start overgiving. You respond instantly. You always initiate. You make her your priority, while she becomes your focus. And that's where things shift. Because what is always available loses value. Not because she's bad, but because human nature works that way. A Stoic man understands balance. He gives attention, but he doesn't depend on giving it. He has a life, a mission, a purpose. And because of that, his attention becomes valuable, not constant. 3. Emotions are fluid, not fixed. This is where many men break. One day, she's affectionate, warm, engaged. The next day, distant, cold, uncertain. And you panic. You think, she's losing interest. She found someone else. I need to fix this. So you chase. You text more. You try harder. You overanalyze everything. And that pushes her further away. Because emotions are not stable. They move. They shift. They respond to energy, environment, and internal states. A Stoic man doesn't panic. He doesn't react to temporary changes. He stays grounded, stable, consistent, because he understands. Not every emotional shift is a problem. Some are just natural. 4. Tests are about strength. Tests don't come labeled. They don't announce themselves. They appear in subtle ways. She cancels plans. She challenges your opinion. She becomes unpredictable. And most men fail these tests because they don't recognize them. They react emotionally. They get defensive. They get insecure. They try to prove themselves. But that's exactly what causes failure. Because the test is simple. Are you emotionally stable or easily shaken? A Stoic man passes without trying. He stays calm. He doesn't overreact. He doesn't chase approval. He simply remains himself. And that calmness, that control, that's what builds attraction. 5. Respect is the foundation. Love is powerful, but respect is deeper. Because love without respect doesn't last. You can be kind, generous, available, but if she doesn't respect you, something will always feel off. Respect comes from boundaries, self-control, standards. It comes from knowing when to say no, when to walk away, when to stand firm. A Stoic man never trades respect for temporary affection because he understands. Once respect is lost, everything else follows. 6. Your frame defines everything. Your frame is your reality. It's how you see yourself. how you carry yourself, how you interpret situations. If your frame is weak, you look for approval. You doubt yourself. You fear losing her. If your frame is strong, you don't chase validation. You don't overreact. You don't lose yourself. And here's the truth. People don't follow words. They follow certainty. A stoic man builds a strong internal frame, not based on others, but based on self-mastery. 7. Energy speaks louder than words. You can say all the right things, but still feel wrong. Because communication is deeper than words. It's presence, energy, intent. You can pretend to be confident, but if you feel insecure, it shows. A stoic man works internally. He doesn't fake confidence. He builds it through discipline, through control, through awareness, because real energy cannot be faked. 8. Chasing destroys attraction. Chasing feels natural, but it creates imbalance. It says, I need you, instead of, I choose you. And that difference is everything. A stoic man doesn't chase. He attracts. He focuses on himself, his growth, his purpose. And because of that, people are drawn to him. 9. Stability is attractive. Emotional chaos repels. Stability attracts. That doesn't mean being cold. It means being controlled, grounded, calm under pressure. A stoic man doesn't react to everything. He chooses his responses. And that control creates safety. 10. Your life is your message. At the end of the day, how you live matters more than what you say. Your habits, your discipline, your direction. A woman doesn't just look at you. She looks at your life. And if your life lacks structure, so will your relationships. A stoic man builds himself first, and everything else follows. Understanding women is not about manipulation. It's about awareness. It's about knowing when to act, and when to remain still, when to speak, and when silence holds more power. Because the truth is, the world doesn't reward emotional chaos. It rewards control, discipline, clarity. And when you master those, you don't just improve relationships. You improve your entire life. The man who understands others is wise, but the man who understands himself is unstoppable.